Hi everyone, this is Dr. Victoria Scarborough speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center in Wareham, Massachusetts. And I've been doing a little research online and listening to many of the political candidates for president. And I definitely have this sense of just listening to a couple of the people and some of the things that have been going on. I've been mostly listening to the women, and of course I love listening to Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, even though she's not running for president. She has a lot of really great things to say. She makes things very accessible to people to understand. She's a very smart woman. And I really feel like she's going to go very far in her career. That being said, I've also been watching quite a bit of Tulsi Gabbard, who is the congresswoman from Hawaii, who is running for president. And she seems to have decided to take on the military-industrial complex, which, let me tell you, only an Aries would do that. Because that's one of the scarier things that you can take on. It's a sacred cow that everybody sort of ignores. They say we don't have money to educate our children and feed our children or give us health care, but we have plenty of money to start wars and perpetuate wars, and she talks very directly about that. I was watching her talk to, I think it was Jake Tappert. I'm not sure if he's on CNN or MSNBC. Sorry about that, but she brought it up how that we give money to these rebel groups, and they end up being part of Al Qaeda and part of this and part of that. And I thought he was going to jump out of his chair. It was really pretty astounding. And then we have Elizabeth Warren sort of taking on the banking industry. Okay, now she's not as completely taking on the banking industry as, say, Tulsi Gabbard seems to be to take on the military-industrial complex. Although she certainly has done quite a bit in her career to point this out. It's just the part of no bankers are in jail yet, right? So, but there is this rising sense of things being put out there, and things, despite what the media. The narrative the media wants us to have, there is people speaking up and speaking out, most of them women. And of course there's Bernie Sanders, who on a certain level, Bernie Sanders reminds me of John the Baptist. He's sort of the voice of him who crieth in the wilderness, right? And now and he sort of forded that path. And now we have Our Revolution. We have Nina Turner, who's a powerful voice. There is a shift, there is a change. We can feel it, we can see it, it's happening now. And so all of this prelude made me think, made me want to do a reading on this whole movement, this uncovering. And it struck me today when I was just pondering over a cup of coffee and one of my husband's delicious biscottis that he makes, that so often it seems the well-intentioned, the charitable, the kind, those who sort of work toward the good can only get so far before the darkness takes over, right? Before they're stopped in their tracks, or like in the case of Martin Luther King, shot. So there is this. There's always been, I think, we start to wake up and rise up, and then the darkness overtakes us again. Now, I know that there's probably some yuga or something that I don't really know about, the Kali Yuga and such, but I really, from my own explorations, through my metaphysical studies and my studies with astrology, I really do feel like this is a change. There is a shift. There is a shift to the light where the good, the decent, the hardworking, the loving can actually make the change that it seems like they couldn't make before. So I want to do a reading on that. I don't even know what I'm asking, but that's what I want to make the reading on. All right, let's see what everything I said. Let's see what the card has to say about that. Okay, so here we have the Nine of Pentacles, and thinking of this particular question that I ask. Here we have a woman, a self-made woman, a woman who is surrounded by the things that she has created in her own life, and so I feel as though this particular card talks about women standing on the shoulders of the women who came before them, the suffragettes, the women's movement of the 70s, and now this new wave of feminine power coming through. As I'm reading this, there's a hawk just went over my house. That's spirit. Okay, sorry about that. I got distracted by the hawk. All right, what's crossing it? Okay, and so what's crossing it is the moneyed men. Okay, the moneyed men. So there is a challenge here. There is a challenge. Okay. See what's at the root of this. Okay, more money. This card would always mean to me people who were very good at what they did, but this is also can also be the dark money underneath. So let's I'm going to call it that because that's the first thing that came to mind when it came up. Okay, so far it's all about resources and money and the manifested world. Let's see what's in the past. Okay, we have the Page of Wands. This is a message, new information coming in. There's something interesting about this page is he has a little hat on, right? And he's got a little feather in the hat. And the feather is a little red feather. It almost looks like a flame. And it likens to, if we see the Egyptian statues, where they all have the little snake coming out here. There's a word for it. I can't think of the word. Maybe you can write it in. I think it begins with an N. And it just means the enlightened, that there's enlightenment here, right? That they've reached enlightenment. The Kundalini has risen in the case of the Egyptian statues. But this is this card in the past says that we have been enlightened to something, that our eyes have been opened to something. Let's see what's in the sky. Okay, and so we have in the sky the Queen of Fire. This is the page, right? Fire, spirit, and this is the Queen. And the Queen is about sustenance. It's about maintaining. It's about stabilizing. The Queen is always a stabilizing force. She's connected to the fixed signs of the zodiac, and in this case, it's Leo, the fixed sign of fire. And so there's a sense of being heart-centered. There's a sense of being responsive to children, to creativity, to joy and happiness, to sensuality. And so that is the overriding energy here. And of course, this card is also seen by many readers as the Me Too movement. Okay, but this is a woman who's in power. Okay, and so the energy here is that this sense that I have this rising feminine energy is definitely there. It's not just in my, my imaginings of a better world, because women are taking more taking hold, taking more power. Okay, let's see the immediate in the immediate future. Okay, we have celebration, a sense of a reason to celebrate. So this is a good card. It's also fire. Okay, so there's going to be more and more uncovering. There's going to be more and more victories by these women. Oh, the other person I was thinking who was speaking out was Omar, the woman from Michigan, and what she said about is it AWAC or AAC? I'm sorry, I didn't get if I didn't get that right. But how she was talking about it, and then she got trounced on by everybody. But I'm not sure maybe she said it in the wrong way, but I think that there's a truth there, because if there wasn't a truth, people wouldn't get all up in her grill about it. See, if you say a lie, people don't seem to care, right? I mean, look at the president, lies like every other breath is a lie. People are like, oh, that's just him being him. But if you say something that's the truth, like Omar did, or Tulsi Gabbard is, or Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is, or Elizabeth Warren, these truths that's coming out, people get upset. So you're on the right path when people are getting upset about what you're saying, I guess. Because that's not fun. That's why a lot of people just stay quiet. Let's see how this is seen from the outside. Ooh, the Ace of Cups. Yes, so there is this sense of relief and like, okay, maybe the good will overcome the darkness here. Let's see our domestic situation. The domestic situation here. Okay, this is the Chariot. This is about movement. The Chariot is a Cancer card. It's associated with the sign of Cancer. And it's in Cancer that we incarnate into this life. It's through the mother, so to speak. Cancer is symbolic of the mother. And this card, he wears armor. But the armor is the personality as he goes along the road or the soul's journey. So it is the soul incarnating. The armor is the personality. And then we have the movement. And of course we have the black and white here. And so this movement is always done in the idea of living in a dual reality. We're in a dual reality. There's good, there's bad, there's light, there's dark, but it's still the same reality, right? And it's just that it takes a lot of balance in order to move forward. So it's not just about you being right, but it's also, you can't ever be 100% anything. You can really, to a certain extent, be 50-50. That's what we're given, right? 50-50. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but yeah. And so as we move forward, but the 50-50 can be at a higher level. So the higher the level, the higher the evolutionary level that we reach, the more light, just in general, right? We become lighter and lighter and enlightened in that way. And we sort of move up from the density of our experience here on Earth. But we chose to be here. We chose to dive into the density, past Saturn, into the muck, so to speak. And part of our journey is to rise back up. And as we rise back up, everything becomes lighter and lighter and lighter, and that's part of what we're experiencing. And I'm just feeling that maybe we have reached a tipping point where we can actually start to see the difference on the physical plane, because the changes are happening on every plane. Okay, all right, let's see hopes and fears. Okay, well, this is, I guess this could be a fear card, but to me it seems more like a hope card. And it's about this is a card of great potential, but it's about a new way of organizing the manifested world. For the most part, we have to look at our gifts that the earth gives us in a very different way. And it's not about amassing, but it's about utilizing, and it's about sharing, and it's about allowing us to, imagine if we could work with nature instead of against her. Imagine if we were both in tune with nature, like the indigenous, and yet we also have this like technological, I guess in a way. I saw Black Panther a couple of weeks ago, and it's kind of in a way that, like, the indigenous roots in combining with the technological, the technology, and what that could wrought, that could wrought. I think it's all very interesting that this is coming up now. Okay, and the outcome? Here we have the Knight of Swords here. This is about rushing forth into battle. Of course, this can create a lot of chaos and a lot of havoc, unintended consequences, perhaps. But this card is associated with, in the Tree of Life, Tippereth, which is associated with the heart chakra. So this is coming from a place of heart-centered, in its best form. It comes from a heart-centered place. But there can be rash action with this, and so let's see what else comes up. See if we can get a major arcana. Okay, we have the Emperor. Okay. So this is what I feel with these two cards. What I'd like to say is that this is going to create a new structure, but that's not what I feel from these cards. These cards feel like that the powers, the structure, the people in charge, the male energy in charge is going to use every weapon in their arsenal to try to suppress this. Okay, let's see what's at the bottom of this reading. Okay. So this is what I want to say. It's not I said the patriarchal power structure. It's more like a Trump thing, I think. This is a Trump thing, because this to me is a Trump card. So that being said, this card of unintended consequences, oftentimes this card is a card that comes up when I do readings on Trump, and I kind of see it as him, somebody coming in and, just, making a mess, making chaos. And so I think the more he fights against this, the more he's going to strengthen the women. Now, let me do another quick reading on one of the things I noticed in the State of the Union, and one of the things, I can't say I watched the whole thing. I have a very hard time listening to Trump at all. But, I do it for you. I feel like I have to at least, on some level, I have to take it in small bites, right? So what was the State of the Union a week or two ago?